Hello, hello, my friends. My name is Kyle Hunt. This is the Remodelers on the Rise show. We're not looking for remodelers who are on the decline. We're not looking for lazy remodelers who just want to kind of check in and check out and work the next 10 years and have a mediocre business. We're looking for remodelers on the rise. Guys and gals who run remodeling businesses or work in remodeling businesses who want to continue to improve and get better in this difficult business of remodeling, who are always after the next thing that they can work to implement to make them a stronger, more successful business, who take pride in their work, who take pride in building a business that is consistently improving and getting better. That's what we're looking for. Remodelers on the rise. I hope that's you. If you're listening to this, chances are that's kind of what you're after. Sometimes we need a little spark of encouragement and a little shove in the right direction to keep after that goal of continuing to improve and move further down the road to success. So that's what part of this show is all about, is giving you ideas and giving you some fresh thoughts and some encouragement to keep yourself out of burnout, keep yourself out of overwhelm, and all that stuff that can easily creep up, especially where we're at with things. It's a challenging time in our business and our industry. Keep on keeping on. So with that, what we've got today is I did wake up this morning and was thinking about the Remodelers on the Rise show because I knew I was doing it 12 o'clock Eastern, but I didn't really necessarily have a specific topic in mind. But wouldn't you know it, the Remodelers community, which is a private Facebook group. It's free of charge. Great conversation in there. If you go to remodelerscommunity.com, you can request to join it. But Remodelers community provided some fodder. I think what fodder means is just some topics, some conversation, some thoughts, some fodder for today's show. So I'm going to read something that was posted. Brian Martin posted something of some struggles and just some feeling kind of beat up about the fact that he had an employee come to him. They're looking for like a $5 or $6 raise. This employee is still not lead carpenter material. And he's just struggling with, boy, we just are paying more and more and more for these team members. And sometimes their skill isn't equivalent to that. That whole supply and demand of it is hard to find good help. And it is an employee's market right now. We are paying people more. 5 years ago, if you said you've got just a solid carpenter, not a lead, and you're paying them $29 an hour, you're paying them $31 an hour, you would have laughed. You would have laughed at that. But that's what we're bumping up against. I mean, you drive down the road and you see, McDonald's, $15 an hour plus $500 signing bonus. Right, the floor of what people are paying continues to increase. So that's a challenge of ours. And people were giving Brian some feedback and some encouragement. And Justin Kolich, I remember us talking about this, Justin. Kolich, I'm going Kolich, even though it's L-I-C. Maybe that's right. But he said he was given some feedback, and he kind of said, if I can't provide good jobs, I don't really care to be in business. Kind of talking about how, I want my team to make more money. I want to pay them a really good wage. I want to continue to add more and more benefits to make this a wonderful place to work. Quote unquote, if I can't provide good jobs, I don't really care to be in business. Totally different kind of mindset on that. Michael Anschel picked that up. He read that and he made a new post, and he wrote this, and I want to have you guys hear it. So he quoted Justin's post of, if I can't provide good jobs, I don't really care to be in business. And he said this, just read this powerful line in a thread on here. This is an owner's brain at work, ! Of course, good is subjective, but one path to answering that is asking the question, would I want that job? There's an interesting question. Would I want to work here? Would I want to work for my company? A wage is just one component of your company job culture. As is being noted here by others, people don't change. As has been noted, and this has come up in other Remodelers on the Rise shows, People don't change jobs. They go elsewhere to perform the same job. Oftentimes, again, they don't change jobs. That carpenter is still a carpenter. That lead carpenter is still a lead carpenter, but they are performing that job elsewhere. They're changing management teams. They are changing company cultures. Hear that loud and clear. Okay. Michael goes on to say the culture, the environment, the purpose. Great employees are those who are in a state to thrive. They want to thrive. Great businesses create a framework and hold a space for employees to thrive. Great clients are attracted to the energy and experience of working with a thriving organization. As a business owner, when you make a statement like the one at the top of this post, you're shaping the culture of the company to be the kind of place folks want to work at and with. And then Michael just had a little kudos, a little tip of the cap to Justin's comments. So I think this topic is timely because we always have to be evaluating how do we retain the talent and the team that we have. This topic is timely because you're going to have probably more of your team kind of coming to you going, I got a job offer that was pretty attractive. Anything you can do to match this? And as a business owner, we want to be proactive. And this is one of the hats you wear, is making your business an enjoyable, thriving place to work at. So that's a good thought in and of itself. That's a good reminder in and of itself. Hi, Jim. Hi, Michael. Hi, Amy. And what I prepped in between some one-on-one meetings this morning are just some ideas, some additional ideas around this topic. Hopefully to just kind of spark you into more thinking about this, but kind of the theme of this Remodelers on the Rise is, how do you create a wonderful place to work? That's kind of the theme. That's kind of the banner over the top of this. Bailey, if you're listening to it, that might be the title when we post this as a podcast. All right, so I'm going to click this. It's a chime. And I'm going to say idea. And I'm just going to share different ideas around this topic, different thoughts, different questions, things for you to ponder and think about. Okay, so let's practice it. That goes, then I go, idea. All right, here's an idea. I had this conversation with one of my clients. It was about 6 months ago. And they had a guy that's worked with him for a long time. And this thought came to my mind. And I said, fast forward this 10 years. Let's say this guy's now retired and he's worked with you for 25 years. That employee finally retired from your business. He'd been working for your business for 25 years. And he's talking to a buddy of his, he's now retired. And the buddy goes, hey, what'd you do for work? And he goes, well, I worked for blank remodeling, for 25 years. And the guy goes, oh, how was it working for them? Pause there. What is that employee who's worked for you for 25 years, most of his career? You think about the life, right? A huge chunk of his life and what he's done and invested his time and energy towards has been with you and your company. Obviously, you're doing something right because he was there for 25 years. Let's make sure we're acknowledging that. But what does he say? Does he say, it was a job. It was fine. They treated me fair. It was okay. Is that the story he says? Or does he have a story that's like, from where I was when I came to that company to where I was at the end is just night and day. They poured into me education. They poured into me just a positive work environment. We had bumps in the road. We had lots of things that go on. But I remember multiple times when, I needed time off and they just said, go. I remember multiple times where they just continued to add benefits and things to help. They just cared. I loved it. It's almost sad that I'm not working for them anymore. So that's an idea. Think through, what is that employee that's been working with you for 30 years and that buddy of theirs walks up to them and says, where'd you work? What is the story that they're going to share? It's a big picture thought, but one worth considering. Okay, so there's one idea. And then I go, idea. And you guys can share some comments or thoughts. What are you doing that makes your company a wonderful place to work? Another idea that you have is just what Michael kind of hinted at. Would I enjoy working for my business? If I was a carpenter, if I was a lead carpenter out in the field, or if I was in the office, would I enjoy working here? Why? Why would I enjoy working here? Why not? Why would I not enjoy working here? And just give yourself kind of some fresh eyes and that different perspective on things to just really challenge yourself and look at that and say, why or why not? Would I be bored? Would I feel like I've got upward mobility? Would it feel like it's just the same thing day in and day out? Let's look at our leadership and my leadership or my leadership team. Are we enjoyable to work for? Am I cranky too much? Like, really look at that. That's important stuff, especially when we're stressed and there's a lot of work. So that's another idea. Ask that question. Would I enjoy working here? If so, why? If not, why not? Okay, so that's an idea. Next idea. I have a client who has added a new employee benefit. 1 3-day weekend per month. He's got about 25 employees. 1 3-day weekend per month. This goes for the office staff. This goes for all of their field staff. They're being thoughtful to make sure that not too many people are taking the same week off. They're staggering it. But the way he tells it, he says, the look on everybody's faces and the energy and excitement behind this idea, whoo, baby, they were excited. And they've just now started to implement it. When he thinks about it, he said, Kyle, when I really look at this, I don't know how much productivity I'm really going to lose. Think about the days that you are a day before you go on vacation. Those are our most productive days, right? We're really thinking through things. He said we've got to be careful not to take advantage of this, but he's anticipating. He said there's a good example. He said 2 of his office team were taking the next day off, and he said, Kyle, they were here until about 6:30 the night before because they had some things to wrap up before they took that Friday off. Right? How much real productivity is he going to lose compared to that employee benefit of just being, once every month, I get a 3-day weekend. You think their spouse, you think their partner, you think their significant other is excited about that too? And it is going to cost him some productivity. He's going to give some of that up. But how much? Is that another 75 cents into the employee labor burden a year? Is that another $1.72 a year? You can calculate that. But boy, it's a huge employee benefit. That's an idea. His team is going to even more enjoy than they do now working for his company because of something like that. What's something creative you can do like that? Even if it's not once per month, maybe it's once a quarter. Okay. Another idea. Give your team their birthday off. Anthony Slayball, remodeling and design down in beautiful Ohio. As a Michigan football fan, I'm not supposed to say anything nice about Ohio people, but Anthony's a good dude. Anthony was hanging out with one of his business buddies, and he said, hey, here's something we're doing. We give our employees their birthday off. And Anthony went from hearing that idea, I think it was like an insurance buddy of his, to sending a note to his team and says, guess what? New employee benefit. Everybody gets their birthday off. Similar to what I just described. They were so ecstatic. They were so excited about that. It's like, Kyle, it's like I told them I gave them a $5,000 check. They were so excited. Very simple idea, right? I like that idea so much that I said, hey, Bailey, my employee, you get your birthday off. And we thought about it a little bit more. And she's like, I don't know, it's like late. When's your birthday, Bailey? Like 28th of December or something like that. It's not going to have as much impact. We're already taking time off that week. So she gets her half-year birthday off, like sometime in June. But that's another simple idea. How do we build company culture? These are benefits we're talking about so far, right? But there's another idea. Okay. Another idea is you've got to think long-term. You've got to think long-term about this stuff. Bailey told me to bring this one up because we were brainstorming it. Bailey has been down with COVID. She's had a fever. She has gone through times where she's feeling okay to work, and then a week where she literally can't work hardly at all. We did the 2-week emergency paid leave, so we had that going on. But it went on for 6 or 7 weeks. She's finally turned the corner, which is awesome. And she mentioned a couple of times, Kyle, if you need to not pay me my full salary, yada, yada. The thought never crossed my mind. Like she's struggling there. Yes, it's costing me some productivity. Yes, it's costing me some money and some work that's not happening. Oh, by the way, I noticed how much she does for me because in her absence, I had to do a lot more work. That's also a good reminder. But the thought never crossed my mind, not because I'm crazy generous or this or that, but it just didn't cross my mind because I'm thinking long term. Like, I want her to work here 10 years from now. She's a great employee. I want her to work here 7 years from now. I'm fairly obsessed with making sure she really enjoys her job. That's a mindset thing. What is your mindset about your team? Are you wanting them to just look, you got a job, I'm paying you well, be quiet and do your work? Or are you kind of obsessed with making it a wonderful place to work? That's a mindset shift and something that's worth considering, but also thinking long-term, like 3 weeks of unproductive, time in the grand scheme of things is so minor. Make sure you have this long-term thinking when challenging things come up about your team, when they're going through a loss in the family, when they're not doing well, they need some time off. Think long-term, because when you think long-term, it becomes much less of an issue in the short term. Okay, so there's a bunch of ideas so far. Let me see if we got some comments. Michael said PTO is so valuable. Somebody says I like this perk. I don't know if I should have looked a little bit sooner. I think that might have been earlier when I talked about the 3-day weekend once a week. Michael, tell me a little bit more about the PTO being so valuable, paid time off. There's the chime. Idea, is paid time off. Yes, we have, sick time. Yes, we have vacation time. Some people call it. Yes, we have paid holidays off. But Michael, I think I saw your post of something like 17 PTO days. 17 PTO days. When I put my hat on around what I enjoy working for my business, or when you put that hat on, one thing I do remember when I worked for a modeler is how I was always kind of juggling my time off. I had 2 weeks plus some holidays. It wasn't, it was decent. But there were so many days where, boy, it would have been great to take that Friday off. We really wanted to go, I'm thinking when I worked for, we had one young kid, another one, just one young kid, but we wanted to get, over to the west side of the state to spend a long weekend at Mimi and Papa's house. And boy, it would have been nice to leave that morning instead of 5 o'clock, little things like that. But think about that PTO and how much time you do want to give your team off. And do you want to be more generous with that? Do you want to format that a different way? That can go a long ways. Okay. Let's think of some other ideas around this. Again, the banner on top of this is how do we make this a wonderful place to work? And I'm just sharing different ideas to try to spark you to think about this. Okay. I think just the idea of what is your company culture? What is your company culture? When you really step back and evaluate that, what do you stand for? What are your core values? What are you guys about? Those are some big time strategic questions, but something worth thinking about. I don't think as business owners, we think about it enough. Michael says it's relatively inexpensive for us, but huge for the employee to know their personal life and well-being is top of mind for us. Good. Yeah. When you pull up, I pulled up an employee labor burden calculator, and I was just kind of plugging in some numbers. This is somebody that makes $28 an hour and yada yada. And they're right now I've got it plugged in where there's 2 weeks of vacation time. There's a week of holiday time. That difference between 2 weeks of holiday time, so 10 days, and 12 days, let's say. So if I plugged in that, the difference between that, as far as their burden, the 12 days is $49.53 is what this is coming out to. Their 2 days is $48.82. $48.82. Yeah. So about 70 cents every hour. Another 2 days of PTO is going to cost you about 70 cents an hour, right? It's real money. It starts to add up. But you start to look at that and go, okay, if I just put in my cost per labor hour and I continue to move that up, I can afford to give them 5 more days off this year, 3 more days off this year, right? Like what Michael said is, it's relatively inexpensive for us. Somebody else said unique/thoughtful gifts is also something that can really make your employees feel valued. I remember you grabbed 3. Oh, is this Bailey? Is this you? I remember you grabbed, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you can give permission so we can see your face. I remember you grabbed 3 copies of a book I love for me to give away as a surprise little bonus. And that made a much bigger impact than if you'd written me a check for the same amount. Well, I'm guessing if I wrote you a check for triple the amount, it might not have been that. But yeah, you got to know your team. You know your team. You know what gets them excited. You know what gets them fired up. And I love the idea of doing special things for them. I had a client here recently that instead of doing a bonus, he ended up calling the RV camp in northern Michigan that one of his employees has always had a spot at, and he called them and said, "Hey, the annual fee for so-and-so, I want to pay that without kind of telling him. I kind of want it to be a surprise. He did that as his bonus. And the guy was just flabbergasted. He was floored. He was like, you didn't have to do that. That was so nice. Da, da, da. You know, and having a little fun with it, getting a little creative with it. Okay. Another idea is just paying attention to your team. There are so many people that are stressed out right now, that are burnt out right now. And when you look one of your employees in the eyes and you see that, does the thought even cross your mind to say, hey, half day tomorrow? Don't put in a full day. Get yourself a long weekend. Hey, take tomorrow off. Take care of yourself, rest, rejuvenate, come back on Monday, guns a-blazing, ready to rock. You know, does that thought cross your mind? Are you looking at the mental and physical health of your team? Okay, so there's lots of ideas around this topic, right? I think more so than anything else, is this mindset. Is this a wonderful place to work? Am I always constantly thinking about how to make this wonderful? And it's not just about more benefits or more money or more this. Boy, empathy goes a long ways. Boy, reading and understanding your team and what motivates them goes a long ways. Okay. What are some other ideas? One of my clients does 4-10s, right? They work 4 longer days and they take Fridays off. The way he describes it, he's like, if I ever tried to change that, I think they would come and whoop my butt. Because they love it so much and they've come to expect it. But they enjoy working for them because they really enjoy 4-10s and they really enjoy taking that long weekend off. And my client also really enjoys it because Fridays around there, it's just got a different pace. There's no job things going on. There's no team to kind of, work with, and they're very productive kind of office days for him. So, that might be something. Okay. What about continuing education and training opportunities? There's a good number of people that choose to leave their current jobs because they don't see how they're going to continue to advance in their career and get better. Let's, studies show, why did you move your job? Move from jobs. Yes, the wages are part of it, but not nearly as much as you think. It's very similar to, why do people choose a remodeler? Is price a consideration? Absolutely. But it's number 6. All these other things are a part of it. And when you study why people leave their jobs, lack of training, lack of seeing a vision of where they can go in their career, how they're going to continue to be more skilled and improve their skills is a huge factor. So, when you're looking at your overall business budget, when you're looking at how do I continue to make this a company that is going to be growing and thriving and a fun, enjoyable, wonderful place to work, continuing education and training is a key part of that. I've got numerous clients who, go to the International Builder Show, and it's just a really nice weekend. I have one client who I saw their offer letter here recently, and they said, every year we go to IBS and KBIS, and we will fly you, all expense paid. We'll also pay for a ticket for your spouse. That was in the job offer. Well, that's a cool thing. That's something for them to look forward to. It's a trip that they can take, and the company's covering it. There's people that, do little, one-day training and make that investment of doing a training to do Schluter training and go on site for that. What continuing ed and what training opportunities? Maybe you leave it open-ended. Hey, I've got a budget set aside for training. What do you want? What are you wanting to learn more about? And let them kind of take that. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ideas around this topic, this important topic of how do we continue to build a company that is enjoyable to work with and that people can really, they want to remark about it. They want to tell others about what it's like to work for your business. We've shared a lot of different ideas. Another one that I'll throw out there is one that I just see more and more is when you get a simple IRA set up. It's very inexpensive, and it's pretty easy to do a 2% match or a 3% match. There are still way too many people that are just not doing anything when it comes to retirement. And some of the people on your staff may be in that boat, and giving them that opportunity, making sure they're meeting with a financial planner to talk about what that looks like for them, making sure you're offering a generous match to make it a bit of a no-brainer for them. That's some behavior and some saving and some things that you would want them to be doing. That's just setting them up for future success and stability. So, simple IRAs is something that I just see more and more people offering. I also have a lot of clients that are looking back into the health insurance side of things. When we think about recruiting, by us saying we do not offer any health insurance benefits, it slows down the number of applicants and some of the people that might be interested in joining our team. When we offer health insurance benefits, even if it is, we cover 50% of the primary employees' health insurance, that's something. And it's something that you can promote when you're recruiting. It's something that you can talk about, and it's got some substance behind it. Oh no. How long ago did I accidentally mute? I just clicked back on this and I saw a thing that said, uh-oh, we might have had a little issue there. That's okay. It happens sometimes. I just hope it wasn't a long time ago. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so that's all I got for today, folks. We're going to wrap up maybe 2 minutes early. Again, the thought here is only about 15 seconds. Whew, good. All right, but I'm back now. Nicole says 1 second. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. Yeah, so that's the topic for today, is getting us thinking about, is my company a place to work? If so, why? If not, why? Would I want to work here? Do I have this mindset? I'll finish with this. This is one other thought that I had written down. I see this now that I've been coaching for 13 plus years, and I see a lot of successful remodelers and different things. Your business will get to the point where, from a financial standpoint, from providing for you and your family, from just financial stability, from just a lot of the system processes, where you've kind of quote unquote made it. You're in a comfortable position. Everything is pretty solid. And, for years, you're chasing that. Oh, it's going to, I've got to really figure out this pricing thing. I've got to figure out the job cost. I've got to make sure, is it possible for me to make 6 figures? Wow, I'm making 150,000 now. We've got some stability here. I've got a good savings account. For years, we chase after that. And then we get a lot of that in place. And I see a lot of remodelers who get there, that I've worked with for a number of years. When you get there, what's the next mountain you're going to climb? What's the next thing that's really going to get you fired up? You already made the money. You're fine. You're fine financially. You figured out a lot of the charging for design and development and making sure the client's happy. You've solved a lot of problems and a lot of challenges and really have a lot in place. That next mountain that I see a lot of my clients really set their focus on and that really get after it is, how do I make this an amazing place to work? How do I get all these key team members that have been so wonderful? How do I make them thrive? That word thrive is a word that I use a lot. And I'm glad you wrote that, Michael, in the thing that inspired this episode. How do I make this an incredible place to work? How do I make this a place that people want to come and work for? How do I work on that company culture? That is a great mountain to kind of go after next when you've kind of reached a certain level of success. Yeah, it's fun to do business like that. It's fun to build a business where you're putting more and more focus around, how do I make this a wonderful place? Okay, so I hope there was something in there, whether you're watching this live, whether you're listening to the recording of the video, whether you're listening to the podcast, Remodelers on the Rise. By the way, if you're listening to this, however you're listening to it, if you use the podcast, go to Apple and leave me a little review, if you would be so kind, or whatever podcast app you use. That would be wonderful. That helps people find the show. And I do hope there was a takeaway or two in here. Steve Gruber, that's exactly what I do every day. Stevie makes another appearance, my old high school buddy. Good to see you, man. Your beard's looking good, too. All right, people. Talk to you again, I do believe, next Tuesday for another episode of Modelers on the Rise.